I guess high off your love, I don't know how to behave.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You guys know who it is. It's your favorite girl next door, Day, and here we are with Seize the Day. I am here with before I even get to that part, it is Valentine's Day. Happy Love Day to everybody, lovers in the land out there. I am here with a special guest, and I am so excited to have him on the show. He is a podcast guru, if I do say so myself. He has 4 podcasts.
Yeah.
His name is Mr. Robert Lee Edwards.
What's up, y'all?
Everybody, give it up.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. Thank you
Man,
so much.
so you have 4 podcasts.
I do. Yeah.
We have the Give Me a Chance.
Give me a second.
Sorry, Give Me a Second
Give me
podcast.
a second podcast. We all need a second.
Yes,
yeah.
and the check-in.
Yeah.
And go ahead and finish it off for me.
Then you got Give Me a Second Sports, and then you got Real Reckless Podcast. You know, we just did a live reporting. So.
Oh, that's so dope. I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that. Like, so how I even got a chance to come in contact with you was God ordained.
Yeah.
So I had literally prayed. I was like, God, like start, because I started this back in 2019.
Yeah.
And, you know, right after that, the pandemic happened. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of just went off of my own will and started just asking people that I knew. And I mean, it was cool, but it wasn't as broad and big as I wanted it to be because I really didn't know the purpose behind it. And whenever I actually started it back up again, I said, God, I'm going to give this to you. And, you know, I prayed. I'm like, God, just start sending people my way. And I was scrolling and I seen the check-in.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is this guy? And I don't know. I just decided to DM you. And I was just like, well, either he's going to say yes or no.
Right.
And you said yes. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I started doing some more digging. And we have a mutual friend.
Yeah.
And that was the solidification. I'm like, okay, kind of just like a mental note that God was like, you know, he's good.
I love it.
So let's go ahead and just jump right into this great conversation.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about some background of how you got here.
Man, so first of all, I mean, God is cool. He's really cool how he orchestrates things because I never really had an interest in none of this stuff. So I was actually a musician by trade. I started off like every musician. I started off on drums, you know, and then you move to keys out of necessity because, you know, keys players a little harder to find. And then, you know, I just kind of worked my way through ministry. God kind of gave me some opportunities of elevation. And then pastoring opportunities came up. But then COVID hit. And so when COVID hit, you know, it was like, okay, how do we still get the God-like message out to people? Because we're geographically separated right now, you know, and it's beyond our choice. It's beyond our scope. And so at that moment, I understood that our new member was not going to be by virtue of footprints. It's going to be by virtue of thumbprints. I really thought, I said, if we're really trying to reach the masses, if we're really trying to reach the world, this is actually going to be the thing, the envelope, the vehicle that allows us to reach the world for real. And I tell people all the time, like it allowed the storefront church to become a mega church in and of itself. It kind of brought everybody, you know, to equal playing field because we all were doing the same thing. So, you know, what Stephen Furtick and TD Jakes and, you know, Michael Todd and all these guys were doing, we now had the opportunity for it to even be relevant. And then, you know, that kind of happened. And then from there, it was kind of like, you know, I kind of got an interest in what this looks like. But my first commercial was terrible. I promise you. The first time I recorded on camera, it was the worst thing, you know, in the world. You know, I kind of got discouraged behind it. But then, you know, they got this concept where they say, you know, just hit record. And so just, you know, speeding up. We're probably going to talk about it a little more, but like kind of getting where I am now.
Yeah.
It was tough because I was communicating a message that I didn't live by. And that's why I didn't connect. But it became a real thing when I was like, wait a minute, am I standing on what I'm talking about? Have I been through what I'm talking about? And it was at that moment when I started talking about my transparency versus my opinion on other subjects where I found my lane. And then through my lane, you know, I'm kind of here where I am now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So You're from Fayetteville, like I'm from.
Yeah.
And I mean, we know it. You're a transplant, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So where are you coming from first?
So I was originally born in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Then military. My dad was military for 20 years.
How we all end up in
Right,
Fayetteville.
right. And so just kind of
Yeah.
that's where I call home. That's where I retired out of. And
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, I think Fayetteville has it has a negative gloom over it, where people once they get there, it's like they get stuck.
They call it Vietnam.
They do
Yeah,
call it
Vietnam,
Vietnam.
yeah.
But it's like they get stuck in almost any type of dream
Yeah.
that a person has growing up in Fayetteville. It kind of dies, or it gets sucked out of them. So the ones who make it out, it's almost like it's everyone is so happy and is celebrated, because it's really difficult not to get comfortable growing up there. And I mean, that's always going to be home. I love Fayetteville, but the fact that I just had a dream, and I'm honestly ecstatic just to see you still residing there and flourishing. That really says a lot. And I mean, people who are there flourish. There's a lot of people I know that's there flourishing, and it says a lot, because sometimes you have to step away to kind of see the world and be able to bring that zeal and that push back home. So
I mean, it's what you make it. It's home, and I said, you got to be the vision and the example you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And so my thing is, you don't got to go to an Atlanta to make it happen. You don't got to go to a Charlotte to make it big.
Yeah.
I did it, from the very comforts of my own home.
Mm-hmm.
But I say comforts in the form of it's between my four protected walls, but it's the unknown, it's the uncomfortness of what the outside world looks like.
Yeah.
And so it was a protected space. It was a safe space. Actually, my first podcast was called Safe Space Radio. And so it was where you create that safe space, to develop ideas, to develop strategy. I created a safe space to get it right and wrong.
Yeah.
And I collaborated with people that had vision and stuff like that. And it was amazing what you were talking about when you said, we was able to divinely connect, because I believe that divine relationships don't fall out of the air. They're in people, and they're discerned and not decided. You just got to ask, And then one of the things that we talk about, even at the Creek, we say, this year it's about connections. And more importantly, it's like those connections, like send people with resources, send people with vision, send people with strategy, send people with intellect, send people that know how to do things.
Yeah.
You ain't got to go out. We can never build a city. We can never build legacy. We can never build together if everybody's off trying to run off to the next hot thing. No, I can build it right from
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So speaking of safe space, how I ran into you in your page was looking at your podcast, The Check-In, where you actually are a co-host with your beautiful fiance. She's in the room tonight. I want to kind of start digging in that.
Let's do it.
All right. So how do we get to the check-in? What is the check-in? And I want to know what built up to getting you to a safe space to be able to discuss your relationship on a very public platform.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into it.
I gotta take my jacket off.
Yes, go ahead. Let's get into it.
We're gonna do it.
We got to. This is Valentine's Day, so this is about love, matters of the heart.
Check it out. Give me a second. With the first podcast that you're doing, right? And I gotta put the mic on real quick.
Okay.
This is good videographer etiquette. I got you. Whatever. This one's cool too. So I had the podcast called Give Me a Second. Very, very good, very popular. Me and my man, shout out to Ray Sean, we did good there. And we started talking about, relationships and our theologies and our methodologies and what that looked like. And we had some good moments. But like I told you before, it was like, okay, we're talking about a thing, but you don't see the fruit of it. And so you can only go so far with, people kind of subscribing to what you do,
right,
without evidence. And so we had been doing this podcast for a little while, and we had got capped at 250, 500 subscribers at that time. And I looked at him and I said, we've been podding all this time, but ain't nobody ever seen us with no woman. You know what I mean? And so, and at that time, actually, her and I, we weren't even together. You know what I mean? We were still trying to figure that out, but we got to a point where we were more transparent, and what that looked like. And then, her and I through relationship, we check in regularly. You know what I mean? We check in together. We talk about it. Hard conversations.
Yeah.
And I learned through that moment, I said, wait a minute, the very things that people are trying to connect and subscribe with, I can deliver through my transparency, through my lens, because the truth of the matter is, everybody dealing with half of what we dealing with and
Yeah.
some, you know.
Yeah.
And so people got more questions than they got answers.
Yeah.
You know, there's a couple of clips out there where guys have said that's exactly what I was trying to say, but I didn't have the vernacular to be able to say it, or I didn't have the confidence to be able to say it. And then even responding in the form of, giving her kudos because she was receptive enough to hear it
Yeah.
in real time. We created safe conversations being popular,
Mm-hmm.
and I think one of the biggest demerits in a relationship is the inability to communicate from the right lens.
Mm-hmm.
Notice I said lens because, you know, a lot of communication is nonverbal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's those forms of isolation and it's those forms of, looking disinterested. And so if I could create a platform that says, hey, the hard conversations, the hard opinions, the hard facts, I'm just showing you it's possible. You see what I'm saying? I'm showing you that you can have that conversation. It don't have to be an argument.
Yeah.
One of the things that we say all the time is an argument ain't got to last 2 or 3 days. It don't have to last that long. And when it lasts that long, it's just because we choose for it to.
There's more stuff there.
Yeah, it's more there,
Yeah.
And so, I actually got a call just this week where, lady said, you messing up my home in a good way. You know what I'm saying? You shaking the foundation a little bit. And giving people the courage to have those conversations. What do you think about said topics? What do you think? We got an episode coming out about infidelity. That's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
It's a real place.
People sit right next to their partner right now and they insecure as all get up. Won't say nothing.
It won't say anything.
And what'll happen is instead of saying something and having a conversation to provoke resolutions, you start dealing with everybody's trauma.
Yep.
You start dealing with everybody's triggers.
Yep.
And then you get reactions.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then so what do you do with that? You know what I mean?
And projecting.
Yeah. Well, I got time for that. No more black men going to jail because they don't know how to control their actions.
Absolutely.
No more women, spazzing out and looking crazy on TV. And, now you got cameras and world star because we just don't know how to communicate.
Absolutely.
And the excuse is not, I didn't have a father show me. The excuse is I didn't have a mother show me. The excuse is I grew up in a single. We're not doing that because, a lot of us that are in relationship right now are trying to find it. We're in our 30s.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And you've been grown long enough to do research, to pray, to do self diligence within your own, within your own self. Like there's other resources, there's other options. And so again, I just used the check-in, as a form of transparency to say not only is this something, that I'm gonna talk about from a commercial standpoint, but this is real life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So dealing with transparency.
Yeah.
And dealing with the check-in.
Yeah. She don't always like it either.
Yeah.
The check-ins be low.
Yeah.
Sometimes it be 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of 10.
So
yeah.
Speaking on transparency and the check-in.
Yeah.
You're very wise.
Wow.
But you didn't get this wisdom out of the air. How did you gain this wisdom and what did you have to go through to get here?
My failures make me empathetic.
Let's get into that.
Several divorces. Part of the reason why I had to make,
several?
2.
2.
Yeah. So and then, but even before the 2 divorces, a failed relationship with a baby mama attached to it. Real stuff.
Yeah.
And so even then I was dating for the goal, but not for the process. And so, I started off with bad fundamentals. I have, my parents, they've been able to maintain their marriage 36 years.
Yeah.
That don't mean I learned the process.
Absolutely.
That don't mean I learned the art of due diligence. That don't mean I learned the art of long suffering. And that doesn't mean I even prepared an environment that was conducive for them to stay in. I tell people all the time that the relationships ended because of me. But while they ended because of me, I tell her every day, this is the best version of Rob that anybody done got.
Yeah.
My failures make me empathetic. So you got divorces, you got kids.
Yeah.
You got, in one of my marriages, I was a husband to a woman that was 12 years older than me, and her son was half my age.
Yeah.
That's a lot that I had to learn early.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And even getting out of that and getting into the next thing, I didn't do the homework.
Yeah.
So all I did was take the old me into a new environment, and I produced the same results. So, you say, how do I get here now? How did I learn I got to a point where I hated it. I hated that version of me. I hated what the results came from that. I hated the fact that, you know, I'm here, my kids are in. I made those choices for them to be, you know, with their mother and not with me.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, all of those things are connected to premature decisions. So you may say, oh, you're wise now, but I wasn't when I was 21, 22,
Yeah.
but I was doing things that wise people do, you know, and so it was all premature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, you said something about dealing with decisions.
Yeah.
So I preached a sermon. This was last year,
Yeah.
like last summer, and in the sermon, I was talking about Abraham and Sarah.
Yeah.
And I was coming from the aspect of Sarah.
Yeah.
When she made the decision to allow her husband to sleep with her handmaiden. And it was because she was desperate.
Yeah.
And desperation caused her to make a decision.
Yeah.
A decision that caused envy. And so I proposed a question to the congregation: what is your desperation causing you?
Yeah.
What decision is it causing you? And I think a lot of times desperation will put us in a very sticky situation. You know, I think we have to take our desperations to God when we really, really, really want something bad, because it becomes an emotional decision.
Yeah.
And when the Bible speaks about a sober mind,
Yeah.
he's not talking about all the time alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, of course, that comes with the territory.
Yeah.
He's talking about being sober in your emotions, sober in your mental state, like as a full human being, like being sober. Like, how do you handle situations?
Yeah.
My pastor, Bishop Sherman Blandon, shameless plug.
Yeah. Yeah. Rep your church. I love it.
Yes. He teaches just because you have a legitimate reason doesn't mean you give an illegitimate response. And it makes sense, because a lot of times you have the right to go off. You have the right to go off the hinges. But is it worth it?
Yeah.
And what type of results is it going to produce?
Right. Yeah.
You know? So from making these decisions and where you are now, what are some things you learned? I know you said that there was a lot of things.
We got time?
Yeah, we do. We here.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
What are some things that you learned? Because now some will say, like, that's crazy. Like, you had 2 failed marriages and you're about to get married again.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the next man would be like, I'm done. Like, it failed twice. It's not for me, you know? But the fact that you've made it in your mind to become better, and not only just become better, but say, I want to be better, and I'm about to take on someone else for this journey. So what did you learn that you're going to bring into this marriage?
Well, first of all, you know, let's just put a pin right there. Relationship and union is God's ideology for people.
Absolutely.
Like so to operate outside of, you know, union and covenant, you know, first of all, life without Christ is unknowingly walking in brokenness. But to walk outside a relationship and to think that you can traverse this earth without family and without relationships and without connections, there's so many examples of what God did in twos.
Yes.
You know, it's out. We're not talking about union right now, but Paul and Silas, they prayed, and then, you know, bands were loose for everybody.
Come on.
So how can I unlock strategy for my family without relationship?
Yeah.
How can I give the ideology of what building legacy looks like without relationship?
Come on.
So now, you know, I just want to free some folk and let
Yeah.
you know you're not where you've been, you're not what you've done, you're
For
not
sure.
you're not your bad decisions. And like restoration is God's portion for everybody.
Yeah.
So like I don't care if you're on marriage 3, relationship 6, baby daddy number 7, relationship is still for you. And on this Valentine's Day, you better get cuffed.
Okay.
You better get your boo
because it's cold outside.
I said on one of my podcasts, I'm getting married because I want my sex to be blessed.
Okay.
I'm being real.
That's
you know
real.
What I mean? And so I want God to cover certain things for me.
That's real.
He can't cover it for me if I operate outside of his ideology for me. Like, he called me for relationship. I'm a man. So I don't expect all women to subscribe to that, because, you know, there's a certain level of your emotions that you need someone to safely guard.
For sure.
And that's what men do. But as men, you are called to lead. You're called to nurture your family. You're called to lead. You're called to provide. You're called to secure. And if you're not doing that for other people, then are you really fulfilling your assignment? Are you fulfilling your purpose? And so I could go on a tangent about that.
No, this is good.
You know,
no, this is good.
Singleness, nah.
Mm-mm.
I mean, so I haven't even got to what I learned yet. But what I'll tell you is, like, I need relationship. I need marriage. And I don't even want to go to the whole ideology of favor. We get that. And before I teach on the fact that, first of all, we misappropriate favor, I'm gonna say marriage is gonna save my life because of what it's gonna protect me from. Look at the lens and look at the space I sit in. Like, if I don't have relationship to cover me in those places, you know, marriage may keep my name pure. You know, I'm at an event. Nah, he didn't do that. He married. Ain't no way he was in that room. Ain't no way he was. No, I'm trying to prevent some things.
This is good.
Marriage,
This is good.
covenant is covering. You know what I mean? So, you know, anybody that thinks they can operate outside of that, nah.
But you know, even getting to that space, it takes a level of growth within singleness. And I'm learning that because that's the space I'm in right now. Just being a single woman, you know, navigating through life and navigating through these types of spaces and still gaining discipline. You know, that's where the fasting and praying comes in. You know, there's some things that when they're talking about, some things only happen by prayer and supplication, prayer and fasting. You know, and discipline is one of those things. You know, if you cannot turn over your plate, if you cannot say, I'm consecrating myself, I'm not going to be around this type of thing, or I'm not going to watch this thing. Like, there's no way that I can go into an event or a space where there's other single men and I'm single and let's be honest, I'm human, you know, and I deny myself from what my flesh wants. You get what I'm saying? Like, if we want to be honest. So I think there are certain things that we have to kill as a single person before we get to marriage.
Definitely.
Because all marriage does is magnify the things that we're in. You know, so like if I'm struggling with sex as a single person, that doesn't go away when I get married. I'm gonna be struggling with sex as a married person. And there has been people I've spoken to who are married and has openly admitted that they had to get themselves under control because they were using their spouse as a sex object.
That's a real thing.
You know? And so we can go on and on.
I got some lessons for the people, because, like, we ain't freed nobody yet.
Come on, let's do it.
You know, what do you learn? I learned that, you know, when the Bible talks about, and we ain't even got to be deep with the Bible like that, but when they say dealing with your wife according to knowledge, dealing with your spouse according to knowledge, dealing with your partner according to knowledge, like, that ain't the knowledge that you think about them. You know what I mean? It's the knowledge about them through wisdom and really learning them and knowing them according to their fruit. Now, if you are who you are and what you are, you know what I mean? Like, I can only go off the evidence and the fruit that you bear. But, like, there's times where in the past, you know, I thought dealing with them according to knowledge meant dealing with them beneath. And you're not, you know, that's not the case, you know? And that lends me to the next conversation of submission. Like, I learned over the years that submission is a double-edged sword. Like, you can't submit to me if I ain't submitted. All right, cool.
That's one of our questions. So, matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and jump into our Q&A.
Let's do it.
So,
Let's do it.
This is a part of our show. We got some Q&A from the audience. People sent in, and we're going to go ahead and dissect some of these questions.
Let's do it.
You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm going to start off with the first question. It says, should you go 50-50 in a marriage?
No.
Go ahead, expound. Why do you say that?
Because, I mean, first of all, the metrics of relationship are different. And so, as an example, if I walk into a relationship saying we're going to go 50-50, who's to say that 50, my contribution of 50 is even 10%? Like, if I could be real, if I was to just go 50-50, you know, in my relationship right now, that'd be 10% of my earnings. That'd be 10% of my time. That'd be 10% of my attention. I got 90% worth of attention that I can put into other things, and that don't make no whole relationship. You know what I mean? I think you got to be able to be flexible to the day. Putting a number on it, I wouldn't subscribe to that. Today I may only have 50, but tomorrow I may have to provide 80.
I love that.
You know, and so what I will say is, people talk about 50-50 in the concept of just wanting to get something out the deal. And I need the person that, you know, you know if you're not bringing everything that you possibly can to
For
the relationship
sure.
every day. You know if you're not showing up.
For sure.
And so now we have to put a number on it and say, oh, 50-50, just to ensure you get something out the deal. I think if you're going to be in a relationship, you just have to commit to being the best version of yourself every single day. And if you can't, like, literally wake up and say, today I'm not my best version, I need you to do more. I need you to give more. I need you to be present more. And that removes, the merit of number, because love keeps no score. Like, how, and I'm thankful I'm in a situation where, I'm saying, like, 100% all day. But my 100% ain't always great.
Yeah.
Sometimes my 100% come with an attitude.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be real.
Yeah.
Sometimes my 100% come with depression. So that don't mean I'm not present, but sometimes it comes with some stuff. It comes layered with some stuff. And so when we talk about 50-50, we have to understand that in relationship, things I deal with aren't for you to carry. They're for you to know about. So if we go in 50-50, now you're walking into the relationship not only bringing what you bring, but you're also having to, keep your hands available for what you got to carry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that makes the weight, that makes the 50 that you're already maintaining seem heavier. Versus today I may have to carry what that looks like, but if I know that I'm giving 100 and you're giving 100, even if it's on your worst day, I know I'm getting something out the deal. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's no secret. We spoke prior to the interview.
Yeah.
But you said something that made me think about what you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And you said that it's about the person knowing, not helping to carry.
Yeah.
And you said that was something that kind of triggered you knowing that your fiance was the one.
Yeah.
Because you put her up on game. You told her what was up front.
Yeah.
But you let her know ahead of time that it was not for her to help carry.
Yeah, just for you to know about. Yeah.
And for her to make a decision off of what she knew.
An informed decision. Yeah. And so I wanna free some folk right there too. I've been thinking about that ever since we talked. And I'm about to get slapped. but no, because this is the first time she gonna hear this. But I would leverage to say I didn't know, I don't know, and to be truthful, most men don't know either. I think we confuse the word no with hope, or we confuse the word no with faith.
Yeah.
And I think, you play those games of, oh, I know she's the one. No, you really don't know, because you don't know who she's going to become tomorrow. You don't know if you're going to love the person she changed into. You don't know, what accidents may bear or what life's trajectory may bring you. I don't know that. You got hope, and then you got faith.
Yeah.
And I think the difference between hope and faith is one has accountability attached to it. And so I can hope all day that she's the one. I would leverage to say I got faith that she's the one, and faith puts me in a position to say I'm gonna do the work attached to that to make her stay for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But no, I'm gonna free some men right now. Stop saying that I knew she was the one. You didn't know. You had no idea, and you don't even know tomorrow you're gonna want to choose her. The faith is what keeps you accountable to your commitment. It keeps you accountable to your decisions. It makes you show up every day. Faith made me show up. Hope made me think about it, but I don't know. Because there's some days that she walk out the house where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But my faith says, you know what I'm saying? And then it's scripturally speaking, it says, according to your faith, be it unto you. You know what I mean? It don't say according to your no, according to your faith, because you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. This is why it says take no thought for tomorrow. It's gonna take thought for itself. But your faith says. You know what I mean? I just wanted to make sure. I don't know nothing, but my faith says.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
All right, so this is another good one.
Yeah.
What scares? I guess we both can kind of take a jab at this one.
Yeah.
What scares you the most about love?
That it won't love me back. Yeah. And I think we lose the fear of love when you don't expect so much from it. But to answer the question outright, yeah, I fear that they don't love me back. I fear that love won't like me back. I fear that love won't choose me. You know what I mean? Because we like to say love is unconditional, but really is it?
Right.
Or do we love the version of it that makes us feel good?
Yeah.
Do we love do we love what it makes us look like? Do we love it for the moment? And so, so how do you circumnavigate that?
Yeah.
I tell my old lady all the time, it take more than love and trust to make this work. You know, and I ain't trying to put no negative thoughts in nobody's mind, but like love, yeah, you may not love me tomorrow. You may not trust me right now. You know what I mean? And so you got to replace that. And so when you bind a certain thing, you got to loose a certain thing. You know, I may not have your love, I may not have your trust right now, but I got your respect. And that, you know, I think you can love someone and then you can not love someone. But even if I don't like you, I can still respect you. I don't care nothing for you, but I still got respect for you. You know what I mean? And so I think the part of love that scares me is that you know, people don't have the maturity to say, even if I don't love you right now, you know, I'm still gonna treat you with the love and the decency that you deserve. You know what I mean? Because you know, Jesus was the best example of that. You know, loving faultless people. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and so yeah, I fear that love won't love me back. You know, and that's attached to a lot of rejection, and I think a lot of people don't talk about the rejection of love. We talk about the high school sweetheart and the guy or the girl that cheated on us in our first relationship in college, or you know, the husband or the wife that stepped out. And the truth of the matter is, you're scared to connect again in your future because you don't think love will love you back. And I think you just got to show up. You know, I think you got to be connected to, okay, you know, do it all things as unto the Lord, do all things as unto Christ. You know what I mean? And so there's times where I'm insecure, and I don't know if my old lady will love me today. You know, but I have to treat her the way that I hope that she would just, you know, have the consciousness to treat me back. You know, and I think we give love too much credit. You know what I mean? Because it sounds good. What do you mean by that? I think we give it too much credit because we think that that's all it takes. And I think another thing that scares me about love is that we haven't researched it enough. You know, and the truth of the matter is, you know, when we talk about love, like how much are you really willing to sacrifice? Right. Like how much are you really willing to go without? You know, how much are you really willing to say, you know what, because I love this person, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna submit to that. I'm gonna deny my flesh. You know, you got on my nerves today, but because you know what I'm saying? So how much of us do really operate in the sacrifice of love? You know what I mean? Um, you know, so we use the word love and the terminology love, but a lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, but you ain't never said you love me when you mad at me. You see what I'm saying? And we don't talk about that. Well, so let me, I guess I'll work backwards. Yeah. I'll hit that and then I'll go on to what I was gonna say. So with that, even if I'm upset with you, yeah, my love comes off with how I handle you. Yes. With you. Yes. Because me loving you, I'm not reckless. Yeah. With my words, I'm not reckless with my actions. Yeah. Because I love you and I care about you. And there's some things that's unrepairable whenever the emotion of me being upset is gone. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I guess I'll get into my fear of love. I don't really have a fear of love because I think the opposite of love is fear. So if I say that I have a fear of love, then I mean I don't have any love at all. So for me, I think the concern that I have that's with good. Love would be someone who does not understand what love is. Yeah. And so because they don't understand how it is, they don't know how to navigate through it. Yeah. For me, um, I would say someone who does not know what love is, they jump into the emotion, yeah, or the infatuation, and then they don't know when, let's say, they get upset in an emotion of sadness or mad or anger, whatever arises, they won't know how to handle it. Yeah, because they don't know what love is, and love is being able to, in the midst of everything, yeah, like I'm still caring for you. Yeah. I'm still nurturing what we have formed together in the midst of calamity, in the midst of misunderstanding. Like I'm taking a chance of listening to you, figuring out what's wrong with me, and looking on the inside first before I project anything out on you. I think to be able to love correctly, you got to be willing to like not love somebody out of your trauma.
Yeah.
You got to be able to like say, I'm willing. I'm not gonna love you out of my survival. And I think we bring those elements to relationship, and we ask inadvertently or passively for our partner to save us. And it ain't for you to save me. That's why I told her when I first got with her, this ain't for you to carry. This is for you to know.
Yeah.
But love, I think it goes back to the root word that I talked about in the beginning. That's accountability.
Yeah.
And so if I could just kind of extend, the conversation about my, I gotta fear love that it won't love me back. But I also fear like love in the form of like, are you gonna be accountable to it? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you genuinely gonna be responsible for what love really looks like? And then like, are you gonna be flexible enough to love me? Love who I change into. That takes maturity.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying?
It does. It does. We can keep going on that.
Yeah. I'm trying to
that's
stop.
A really good topic. Because even in that, if I think that's why it's important to keep God at the center.
Yeah.
Because there's no way it says what God joined together, let no man, pull apart, let no man step in between. And with that, if God had really put us together, that means we're in this thing with God. So if God is growing you, He's growing me as well. So there should be, yes, we're gonna have to relearn each other.
Yeah.
But there should be nothing that will take us off centered from what God has put together.
I ain't gonna lie. There's sometimes I'm like, you lucky you God's child, because those three areas, they'll send you into a spiral that you can't recover from. And so now I'm trying to provide for you, take care of you, and build you up at the same time. But if I build you up, then I can equally tear you down, and that's manipulation. And dudes don't want to talk about that. And so the truth of the matter is, men that want a broken woman is a man that wants a woman he can control. I don't want to control her. I just want to make it easy for you.
That's good. That's good.
So yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
So this is our last question for tonight.
Yeah, love it.
What means more to a man, love or respect?
Respect all day.
Yeah.
Respect all day. You better respect me and affirm me at the same time, and touch me, all that. Yeah, like because love, man, like to be honest, love don't move the needle, because I don't think in flowers and fairy tales. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't gotta love me to cook for me. You don't gotta love me to give me a different experience than what you gave another man. You see what I'm saying? You can be with me, say you love me, but you told the last dude you loved him, But you don't give every dude your respect. You see what I'm saying? You could be intimate with a man, tell him you for real, like, and do all the same stuff and have no respect for him. I could not experience your body physically as an example, but I have your respect, and that's a game changer. You see what I'm saying? And it makes the price of tea worth having. So and a man will only stay in a situation where he ain't respected for so long, and then you wonder why, he treated you like the last dude. You see what I'm saying? Once he realizes that you're not capable of respecting him, you just became a bag lady. You became replaceable. You're no longer an asset. Like, you're not valuable to me because you don't respect me. You see what I'm saying? And so, you can make all the money in the world. You can be the smartest thing in the world. But if you don't respect me, you can make all the money in the world, and your value could be zero to me. Because at the end of the day, I find value in knowing that not only am I, a king within my own right, because I believe all men are, when they earn the title, they're king, right? But I could be that. I could call myself that. But if you don't call me that, you see what I'm saying? If and I don't mean that in the controlling way, but I'm Big Daddy. You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean that. And so
I hate that.
I mean that, but I mean it relative to the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean that, and I don't. So that's not something like, at Walmart. Hey, Big Daddy. I don't mean it like that. But in your but in your mind, I need to be that dude when I walk by. You need to love the way I walk. You need to love the way I smell. You need to love the way I look. Boy, you look good in them pants. I know. You see what I'm saying?
So speaking on that, it was a situation where long ago, man, far away.
Yeah.
Where I was dealing with this guy.
Yeah.
And it was, we never went far, but I knew the type of guy that I wanted to be off of him, because when he entered in the room,
Yeah.
or he came around me, like there were certain the way I used to play with my friends and my homegirls, you know, talking trash, like all that cleaned up.
Tightened up.
Like, I'm not. I can't sit with y'all right now.
Yeah, my man here.
Afterwards,
Yeah,
you know, because it was just a certain way that I just needed to carry myself, and I really like that. Like, and regardless of what women say, like, oh, I'm a woman, I don't need no man to please. Let the right man come around.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't mind straightening up. Yes, like give me that look. If I'm doing too much, and you give me that look, and I'm gonna straighten right on up. Like women like that, and they will say that they don't, but it's the headship that we require and that we desire.
I think women want to be led at the end of the day. They act like sometimes they act like they don't, depending on whatever arena they're in. And the thing about it is men love through their leadership, you know, and we need to do a better job of affirming, you know, our women, our Black women specifically, because, you know, this is whatever, women at large.
Yeah.
But, you know, but we love through leadership. And so if you don't let me lead you, then equally I feel like I don't have value to you either. And, you know, and so all women at some point are led by somebody. And so if I'm not leading you, then who is? You know what I'm saying? And so you want to bring about an insecurity. You know, let me feel like I'm not the leader. You know? And you know, I joke all the time, but like what you're not gonna do is you're not gonna be nicer to your boss than you are to me.
That's real.
See what I'm saying? Like, no. You know, all he give you is PTO. You know, life, health, strength, shelter, you know, love. That's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation. Because it's a interview with James Baldwin and what is her name? Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. And because we're here talking, I can't remember. But she basically was saying, you know, you know, this is in the 70s, 80s. You know, they talk a little brash. But she said, you know, you tell them, like, you smile on their faces all day, but then you come home and you give me hell. Like, you're upset, you're mad. She was like, pretend for me the way you pretend for them.
Listen, you know? I said one day, what you're not gonna do, this is a joke by the way, but just understand the seriousness behind it. What you're not gonna do is you're not gonna, you know, go to work, hair out, but at 5 o'clock you got a bonnet on. You know what I'm saying? You know, Jim like looking at you. I like looking at you too. And I can't stop Jim. He got eyes. Jim got eyes. I can't stop Jim. But it ain't fair. It ain't respect. You know, and I get you. You at home. You want to be comfortable. You done been up all day. But like, the bonnet don't go until 8. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because like I need that. I need the same attention to detail. And then like you wonder why, like, okay, you know, now insecurities are coming up. You got eyes for somebody else, so I'm scrolling on my phone and I can't, you know, whatever. Because I ain't never seen you look like this. You see what I'm saying? And I know you're capable of it because you know what I'm saying? And so like it's so respect keeps you aware of number one, what got your partner, and then what'll help you keep your partner. Because a lot of times we only love, like I said earlier, what loves us back. You see what I'm saying? And if I ain't in the mood, I don't love you right now. But I need you to not be in the mood and still respect me.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
And after this,
okay, cool.
So is love to you a situational thing, where it's in the moment?
I think it can be. I think it can be, and I think if we're realistic, it can be. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Like, who does not want to love something that loves them back?
Well, when I speak of in the moment, because I think I've heard a couple of times during our conversation, where because of this, I don't love you right now.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess expound on that a little bit. I guess in my mind, I'm like, if I love you regardless. Now, I feel like you lagging right now. You lagging, but I still love you.
And I think that's easy to say when you're not mad. You see what I'm saying? And like I think that's what I said earlier. I think we give love too much credit. I'm not saying that we shouldn't love. I mean, we should love regardless of, you know, how the wind blows. It should be unconditional. And we say it is until it ain't. And I just think naturally we have short-term memory when love doesn't serve us right. You see what I'm saying?
You know, I've heard this saying,
Yeah.
and it was one of the realest sayings
Yeah.
that I heard. They said, what helped us get through a lot of the situations that me and it was a guy who was talking, what helped me and her get through some of the situations was the fact that she looked good. Because when I was mad at her and I was really angry, I looked at her and she looked good.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just get myself together, and it helped me. Because if she was ugly, it would have made this.
Now I don't subscribe to that. You know,
I mean, but no, but I understood that.
Yeah.
Because there are some moments in a relationship where
you just don't love your partner.
You are upset, you are angry, and I'm not gonna lie, like looks do help.
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest, it helps. Like I'm not saying that it's riding all on appearance.
Yeah.
But when you were talking about keeping yourself up for your spouse, I subscribe to that.
Yeah.
I am really, really, really big on that. I do not believe, oh well, I got him now, and then you just let yourself go. I do not agree with that. Like I see it all the time. People will get into a relationship, they get married, and they completely let themselves go. And I'm just like, if I was on the receiving end of that, I'm gonna be pissed because I didn't marry this and I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, I think, you know, just kind of, I just want to make sure I'm clear because I don't know how this is going to be perceived by anybody. But I think we need to be honest about how we love all the time.
Yeah.
Not just remember, you know, when it feels good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can sit here and say that there are moments where I'm like, you know, I really don't love you right now. That ain't gonna stop me from doing, because I respect you, because I value you, because I don't want it to be over to a certain degree.
But then isn't that love though?
I think it's love. It becomes love after I done calmed down, after the wind done blew.
But then you're basing it back on an emotion.
No, I think love is an emotion, and I think we need to understand that.
I feel like love is an action.
And an action, yeah. I think those two they work together, and they don't, and people won't get this. Let me say it this way, and you ain't got to answer this.
Okay.
But have you ever been mad at whoever you was mad at and said, I hate you?
No.
Okay. Do you know a woman who's ever said in the moment of anger, I hate you?
Absolutely.
That means that love for a particular moment, it dropped. That don't mean it had to be over, but we have to stop acting like you love me all the time. That don't mean
because I'm really careful with my words. Like
very.
Hate is such a strong word.
Yeah.
Like,
or dislike. I'm mad at you. Anything.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've definitely disliked somebody, you know, that I was with.
Yeah.
To the point where I don't want to say it's no coming back from forgiveness, but yeah.
I guess what I'm getting at is that I don't want love to be perceived as everything is always going to be perfect.
No.
And I think, you know,
love is far from perfect. I mean,
it very is.
Jesus on the cross proved the gore behind love.
I totally agree with that. I think when relationships don't work, not when they don't work, but when there's like hurdles and stuff of that nature, I think the love is challenged. And I think in those moments, it takes more than love for us to reconcile. That's what I'm getting at. And I'm saying that sometimes people believe that like love is the only definition, or it's the thing that holds us together. Yeah. And if we're honest, it ain't.
Can't focus on me.